Hello, and welcome back to Travel Fun Tourism. Thank you for joining today's presentation. Today we are going to go over what are some disadvantages of having a mobile approach utilized in a business. Let's start by going over some safety concerns of using mobile devices in a business. To start out, data loss is a very common one and is preventable when we protect our devices well, especially out in public. This prevents a device from being accidentally lost or abandoned, which then can be easily stolen by someone else and easily sold for money, and that can increase the chance of data loss if a device is totally stolen. Some companies allow employees to bring their own mobile devices, which gives employees the freedom to do whatever they want. Companies are not responsible for any downloads employees allow on their mobile devices, but one hazardous download will lead to dangers, especially loss of important data. We not only need to protect our devices well, we need to protect the data in our devices well. And we can protect our data with a cloud-based solution that we can install in a business router that has industry safety and security features. Another safety concern is risky device configuration. Quite often, mobile devices run without any safety features that prevent dangers such as malware, and stored data is not protected well, which puts information in danger. We need to start out by having a strong password and thorough protection of stored data in our mobile devices. Here are some more safety concerns of using mobile devices in a business. Service disruption, known as denial of service, would be when, because of little to no safety or security in a mobile device, the device itself is prone to the sneaky behavior of hackers, which is still a problem in the US today. And more specifically, the hackers can sneak into any network through any mobile device and cause significant damage. Phishing attacks. Mobile devices are highly vulnerable to these because of their much smaller screen and that the URL or domain that is not real is not shown in a mobile browser. Mobile device users are vulnerable to these attacks because of tricky links that are designed to look real. As advice, it's better to use a computer and always be safe when trying to access these links. Moving on, I do not support the idea of continuous collection and storage of data for future purposes because it is very expensive, it is not safe, and it makes it more difficult to look for important key points. The cost of updating and restructuring data, storing historical data, and handling overwhelmingly large amounts of data is very expensive. And safety-wise, the more data being stored will lead to dangerous things like stolen data, attacks, or breaches. And that may allow dangerous information during the discovery phase of legal proceedings. Let's go over some good practices of collecting data. We need to be honest about why we are collecting the data and to make sure the original data knows all the data we collected so we don't obligate anyone to have to share confidential information, such as browsing history and habits. We need to be clear with our consumers about our data, such as avoiding small prints and being too technical, rather using more concise language, as that better explains the regulations and makes it easier to receive data, and the consumers will feel better and more engaged. Next, we need to make the data exchange mutually beneficial with responsible data collection. In other words, we need to benefit both the customers and the business when we make use of the data, as it is very important for a business to know the decisions and trends the customers decide on. Here are some more good practices of collecting data. Know the laws and regulations within the US as well as other countries. And create a consistent pattern of managing the data by setting rules for data usage, authorizing only certain individuals access to the data, and keeping this pattern of managing the data well updated and making sure that the pattern itself is reasonable. To finish off my suggestions of good practices of collecting data, we need to make sure we maintain the quality of the data we are using by keeping up with the accuracy and updates. And for good maintenance, a good idea is to get help from a quality professional. Next, we need to know our boundaries and that we should only collect, reuse, and sell data to a necessary limit and not overuse it. Ways we can do that are applying limits when sending customers emails rather than frequently sending emails to customers that the amount gets to be overwhelming. And we need to maintain business with our customers with respect and importance. In addition to the other good practices of collecting data, we also need to protect our data well against data breaches. Data breaches lead to exposure and theft of confidential information, such as somebody's credit card information, and deceptive payments, such as deceptive tax returns. Advice for safely and thoroughly protecting personal data of consumers would be to have a backup copy of the data in case of a technology malfunction. Secure and protect all known information within the database and not leave anything behind. Do not reveal the information itself in any way, rather represent it with some unknown number or code that is hard to figure out. And have protection against data breaches that is updated and accurate, such as a firewall or virus prevention software. And at last, if a data breach were to take place, have an emergency plan. Travel fund tourism chooses the company or corporate level as the choice of ethical data collection and storage level. The benefit is that it helps us solve common problems such as finance, political gaps, and other society-related issues. The disadvantage is that there may be significant difference between business rules about ethics and the behavior of the current owners, especially if they are not the direct owners of the business, and that some employees may deal with ethic-related challenges. Here are some examples of privacy violations that can take place when utilizing mobile devices in a business. Examples of malicious code include mobile malware threats that trick users into believing what a hacker is trying to sell, and mobile malware trojans that are made for accessing and stealing data through any network the mobile device is connected to. Device attacks. They are designed for controlling a mobile device and seeing data or trying to give a distributed denial of service. Connection interception would be where hackers can easily connect to a wireless network with the help right away from technology, especially with the easy online connections. And having an app installed can lead to accidental safety concerns such as insider threats, given that the app may not be known to be dangerous. We went over how businesses using mobile devices can lead to various safety concerns. We went over why I do not support the continuous use of data collection and storage for future purposes. We went over various practices for collecting data. We went over my opinion on the choice of ethical data collection and storage level. And we finished off with how using mobile devices leads to negative impact on privacy rights. Thank you for joining today's presentation.